Last night, 2 Israeli embassy staff members were shot and killed as they left an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum. Now, video from the scene shows the arrest of a man who appears to be the shooter. The victims have been identified as a young couple who were set to be engaged.
Hey guys, welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Umi, and today I'm going to be talking about something a little different. I wanted to talk about the shooting that happened in DC and the overall trend we're starting to see with extremism in the United States. I also wanted to touch up on how this whole thing has kind of put, popular political streamer Hasan Piker in some hot water recently, and just talk briefly about how political channels can be somewhat dangerous and harmful to society.
They were killed right across the street from an FBI field office and less than a mile from the U.S. Capitol.
Law enforcement says prior to the attack, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside the museum.
He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire, striking both of our decedents. After the shooting, the suspect then entered the museum and was detained by event security.
This morning, the Israeli Foreign Ministry named the 2 victims as Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, embassy staff workers in Washington.
The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem.
The suspect, who's now in custody, was identified by police as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez from Chicago.
This is honestly downright deplorable behavior. It's just disgusting because the whole thing is completely senseless. You don't have to agree with what they're doing over there in Israel. I don't think a lot of people agree with it. A lot of people are actually upset at it, obviously. Some of the horror stories I've heard are just absolutely abhorrent and disgusting, but that's not to say it's also right to do carry out these acts of, it's basically terrorism, this stuff is completely senseless. Senseless in the fact that this guy targeted 2 random Israel embassy employees who could have been working towards maybe making the situation over there a little bit better. I think public opinion is that people want this war to end. They want to see some sort of solution or resolve, but to go out and just target and end the lives of 2 young embassy workers, that's not right. Absolutely not right, and it's not going to help the situation at all. If anything, it makes people hate the side that this person's on even more. It's like an eye for an eye type mentality. I wanted to switch gears here and look a little bit at the controversy towards Twitch star Hasan Piker. People are looking at him after what happened at the DC Jewish Museum shooting, because a lot of people are starting to see how extreme some of the rhetoric is on his Twitch streams. When this all went down, people in his chat were like, stop Fed posting.
Fun, wild, edgy things. Okay, there are probably 1,000 people in the chat currently documenting every single thing that you guys are saying in an effort to basically tie it back to me and this community and rob it of its context or anything like that, and to try to get me fucking deplatformed.
Lock in, he says. If there are over 1,000 people in your chat trying to document what you're saying, that's probably for a good reason, honestly. One thing that annoys me about Hasan is that, he tries to use it oh, I'm a journalist. He uses journalism as a shield, right? But if it were true, he would be absolutely neutral, because to be a journalist, you have to be 100% neutral. And Hasan has clearly picked a side. Clearly. But no, back to what he was saying on his live stream. He kept telling his chat to lock in, meaning stop making it obvious. I'm not gonna post them here, but some of the memes his community was reposting were very interesting. This is pretty scary, guys. And the fact that Twitch does nothing about this is also pretty worrisome. But anyway, I wanted to read this article with you guys titled Twitch star Hasan Piker facing backlash after Capitol Jewish Museum shooting. Here's why. Hasan Piker is facing massive backlash following a deadly shooting in Washington, D.C. that left 2 Israeli embassy staff members dead. Just 2 days before the shooting, Piker hosted a live stream with over 20,000 viewers featuring George Bad Empanada Janaitis, who has repeatedly made provocative comments against Israelis. Quote, Hasan is going to get people killed, end quote. One widely shared X post claimed, quote, I wish young people today understood how to protest. You will never change society hating half of America or through violence or bigotry, end quote. One X user slammed the Twitch star. Quote, he also said that the Houthi tactics are justified and said they should win a Nobel Peace Prize, end quote. Another pointed out. Even Jonathan Greenblatt, head of the Anti-Defamation League, or ADL, directly called out Hasan Piker during a CNN segment in response to the shooting. Quote, Hasan Piker versus the ADL, this is one of those cases where I hope both sides lose, end quote. One ex-user quipped seeing this clip. 2 staffers from the Israeli embassy were shot and killed Wednesday evening just outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. Israeli officials called it a depraved act of anti-Semitic terrorism. Homeland Security Secretary Chris Noam confirmed the deaths in a statement on X, formerly Twitter. Quote, 2 Israeli embassy staff were senselessly killed tonight near a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C. We are actively investigating and working to get more information to share. Please pray for the families of the victims, end quote. She said, quote, we will bring this depraved perpetrator to justice, end quote. President Donald Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio both condemned the shooting as a, quote, heinous act of anti-Semitism, end quote. Authorities have identified the suspect as Elias Rodriguez, who was reportedly heard shouting, quote, free Palestine, end quote, after the shooting. He was taken into custody at the scene. Notably, the shooting happened very close to the FBI's Washington field office. Interestingly, a CIA spokesperson also confirmed that there was another shooting just outside the headquarters of the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, in Langley, Virginia on Thursday. A CIA security personnel engaged a person, quote, CIA security personnel, quote, engaged a person, end quote, outside the gates and detained them. But yeah, I mean, all this stuff is it's really unsettling. I hate to see how extreme now both sides of the political spectrum has become. And also, before you guys go to my comments and start hating on me for stuff like this, I just want you to know I'm a filthy centrist, so really you're not gonna persuade me one side or the other. Like, I don't like political violence. I think it's very dangerous. It leads to it leads to basically all-out war eventually. Like, I'm just really concerned about young people today tuning into these very extreme political streamers or content creators and just blindly following their every word. And I think most of these people, they just want the platform, they just want the attention, they just want the money, the fame, the success. Do they actually believe in what they're saying? Who knows? That's not to say that it is extremely dangerous to engage in this sort of stuff, to have this huge platform and say these things about really dangerous, extreme political groups and basically have no guardrails at all. Like, I'm sorry, but you have to take some semblance of responsibility when you have a platform this large, And that's not to say, like, I am all for free speech, right? But it's like, at the same time, you have to be, like, if you're gonna be, like, a journalist about this stuff, like Hasan claims, you have to be neutral. Because if you're not neutral, then you're basically propaganda. But yeah, I think Hasan is hyper aware of his audience and, like, what they're like. If he told them to, like, stop or chill out with this stuff, they would eat him alive. They would eat him alive. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, give me a like down below. Dislike it if you dislike it. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think more of these senseless acts of violence are going to continue? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you enjoy this sort of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It would help me and the channel go a long way. But anyway guys, I will catch you in the next one. Later.